How well has the CSDP program reached the communities, and what is the level of cooperation from participating states? To speak on this issue is our guest today, the National Coordinator of the Community and Social Development Program, CSDP, Dr. Abdulkarim Obaje. Dr. Obaje, it's a pleasure to have you in our studio. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Join the conversation as we are streaming live on www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network, or simply Radio Nigeria. The lines to call are, when the time comes, we'll tell you, 0803, that's 0807, let's begin again, 0807 622 6771. One more time, 0807 622 6771 and 0705 149 3324. That's 0705 149 3324. For SMS and WhatsApp only, send to 0705 864 2473. That's 0705 864 2473 for your SMS and WhatsApp only. Please turn down the volume of your radio set to avoid a howlback when the time comes for that. So make your contributions short and straight to the point. You may wish to probably jot down the points accordingly so that you'll be a bit straight on that. Very well. Now let's go straight to it. Dr. Obaje, many Nigerians may not have heard about CSDP. Kindly explain briefly, what is it about? How many states have benefited, so far? Let's get to hear that in your explanation.
Thank you very much. The Community and Social Development Project, CSDP, is an initiative of the federal government of Nigeria with support from the World Bank. It commenced operation in Nigeria in 2009, and we are now in the final phase of its implementation. The total credit sum that was negotiated for on behalf of all the participating 30 states of Nigeria is $450 million. This money is almost spent. As we speak today, 30 states are participating in CSDP in almost all the geopolitical zones of the country. We are intervening in 8 sectors of the economy, of the rural economy. We have interventions in the area of health, in the area of education, water provision, rural electrification, rural transport, environmental conservation, socio-economic, community housing, and we have 2 flanks of our support. We give support under our community development plan investment, and we also give support in our group investment component. Under the 2 sectors, cumulatively, we have been able to support communities to implement 16,455 what we call micro projects. Each micro project, each community and community development plan or group development plan, as we call it, which are developed with support of our agency and the community and local government areas where the communities are located, can draw down a maximum of 10 million naira. And for the community development plan, the community are supposed to contribute in their own account 10% of the total value of the micro projects that they are expected to implement. And for the group, they are supposed to contribute 5% of the total project cost. And this money is deposited in the account of the group and communities. And the method of identifying what the needs of the community are is called participatory rural appraisal, where our officers at the state level go to the communities and help them to identify what their most priority needs are, and money resources is put in their account, project account designated, which is also open and transparent for monitoring from the federal, the World Bank, as well as the state government. And they use the money to implement. So successfully, over the past 11 years plus, we have implemented 16,455 micro projects. And this has brought development closer to poor communities in Nigeria, because poor communities are our focal point of intervention.
Okay, these poor communities, as you're breaking it down, All these areas that we're talking about, have they been covered, in these communities that you're talking about, especially, or is it like it's a progression? Tell us about, the plan of implementation. This year, this is what you're going to do. Next year, hopefully, maybe we'll see probably at the end of it what you hope to achieve in the long run.
Yes, there is what we call our result framework. And there are several components of the result framework, and we do not determine the number of micro projects per community that we are going to do. What we have is a general number of CDPs and GDPs that we want to achieve in a given year, for example. It is difficult to determine because the needs of the communities are not determined a priori. It's only in the course of PRA, participatory rural appraisal, that the needs are established.
Okay, in that case, let me get to know about power.
Yes.
The power sector.
I can even give you statistics on all.
Okay, go ahead.
Very good. In the health sector, we have done 1,980 micro projects across the country. In education sector, we have done 3,046 micro projects in education. That is primary schools, secondary school, examination hall, laboratories, and all that. Even provision of textbook materials and all that. Water, provision of water, we have done 4,480. In fact, that is our highest buy. That is the highest area of acute need as expressed by the communities themselves, 4,480 water projects. And this ranges from motorized borehole, solar-powered borehole, to handheld boreholes across the country. Then we have rural electrification, provision of access to power in poor communities. We have assisted 1,725 poor communities with access to electricity.
So before you leave power, let me just take a bite. A lot of people are very, very sensitive about power.
Yes.
There are indications that electricity is yet to reach a number of villages and states benefiting from the project. What can you tell us?
There are issues with the electricity provision, no doubt. Because in the design of the project, we, the CSDP, provides the infrastructure from the high tension to low tension and then transformers. And these are supposed to be assets of the communities because they have invested in these assets. But there are issues with connecting to the grid. And automatically, as soon as these facilities, infrastructure are energized, by the law set of Nigeria, the asset become the property of the discos. And they become now subject to discos, to the rates, the tariff rates, and other maintenance fee as it is. So this is an area of challenge. We have taken it up with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. And indeed, the chairman and members of the commission are showing us a lot of understanding to see if poor communities, rural tariff can be applied to our communities. But that we should have approached them ab initio to have got this cleared with the discos so that they can enjoy it. As it is now, there is no difference between the rural infrastructure, electricity infrastructure supplied by discos or by the companies and the ones we have supplied. That is, a community can spend as much as 5 to 7 million providing all those facilities, and they are still charged just like any other community. So NERC are working, we are working with them as we speak to see how we can redesign the electricity component.
Okay, so the way to do it is that at the end of this, at the conclusion of your discussion with NERC, it is necessary also to get back to the people, that's through the press, through us, to say, okay, we succeeded in doing this, and then, so that we can all begin to channel our grievances accordingly.
That is
so we'll be waiting for that feedback.
That is very correct.
Okay, let's go to education now.
Thank you.
In the education sector, what has been done to improve the standard of education for children in these areas? You said it a while ago, but tell me a bit of the progress, maybe.
Well, as it is, we have 3,046 micro projects, which I have mentioned ranges from building of new classrooms and provision of desk, tables, reading materials, and rehabilitation, of course, building of lecture, examination halls, and laboratories. Under our support, many communities now are local examination centers because they now have laboratories and they now have large examination halls that can contain a large number of students. So we have been able to do that across the country for so many communities, as I've mentioned. So
I'm sure you're very concerned about this corona COVID-19 issue, the pandemic. It had a lot of challenge, especially in primary healthcare delivery that existed even before now. Now, have we learned any lesson in terms of trying to adjust to what's going on?
Yes, one big lesson is that from our own contribution, CSDP, we have done 1,980 health posts that are also serving, even as we speak, as a point for sensitization of the communities on the dangers of COVID-19. Many of our state agencies use our health centers to promote awareness and to distribute personal protective equipment to poor communities. So we are happy that we are making this contribution, which is also acknowledged by the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajiya Sadia Umar Farouk, and she has actually directed that CSDP structure across the country should be used not only for distribution of PPE, but even for the homegrown school feeding program and the distribution of palliatives. So the ministry has relied heavily on CSDP structure across the country to deliver on the directive from Mr. President to marshal out all assets of the nation, as it were, to fight this emergency.
I think in your area of intervention, I think it's necessary to do a little bit of branding, no matter how small it is, so that people can track what you're doing.
Yes,
what are you thinking about?
We are thinking very seriously about that, and we are going to continue to do it. The only snag in terms of sensitization is that this is a state government project. The federal government only is the owner of the idea that we want to bring about development in poor communities in Nigeria. And the state governments are indeed the ones that borrow the money from the federal government as it is. The federal government borrows from the World Bank and on-lend these resources to the state government. So most of these popularization, sensitization are done at the state level. At the level of the federal government, we do more of coordination, and then of course the issue of publicity is not ruled out. So we'll step up publicizing what we are doing at the federal government level, particularly under the new ministry, which has given us greater platform now to collaborate not just with other sister World Bank projects, but also with all the agencies that are under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Okay,
let's go to commercial activities generally, because a lot of people, the feeding is important. Let's have food on the table. Yes. Commercial activities indeed cannot thrive in the face of poor road network among communities. I'm sure you know, after the farm, through the roads to the people. How much attention has this sector received in the 28 benefiting states and the Federal Capital Territory? Can you just break it down and see who can get it?
29 benefiting states plus FCT making 30.
Very well.
In the area of roads, we have 1,852 micro projects that we have done in the area of roads infrastructure across the country. And but this is the area of a little bit, because we are actually a social sector focus. We are social sector focused. And these are some of those economic activities, things we do that stimulate economic activities in poor rural communities. So we are very active in the area of road construction. We also assist in culvert construction, bridge construction that link one poor community with another poor community to enhance access to markets and to schools and maybe to health facilities and all that. So we have, the sectors have been very, very carefully selected. And if we are able to impact as designed in all these sectors, the issue of poverty in poor rural communities in Nigeria will gradually be a thing of the past.
Let's look at the FCDA, that's the Federal Capital Development Authority, the Federal Capital really.
Yes.
There are some of the villages that are more like at the outskirts of but are still part of the FCT. Yes. How much of the working relationship do you have with the FCDA, with the Federal Capital Territory Minister?
Yes, we have an agency at the FCT level, and I would have loved that my GM, who is also outside, would have opportunity someday to talk about the progress that the project is making here. But as we speak, FCT has over 180 micro projects that have been implemented. And the agency works closely with the FCDA in that they are supervised by the Ministry of Economic Planning of the FCT. And whatever micro projects are done, as I say, we don't a priori determine the areas that we are going to intervene in a particular year. I mean, the number of micro projects or CDPs or GDPs and where they will go and which communities will ask for what. But at the end of the year, whatever report we have done, where we have intervened, we always share it back to the MFCT, but particularly with the chairman of the area councils. The agency works very, very closely with the chairman of the area councils because most of the projects that we do are on the residual list. They're on the list for the local government intervention. So the area councils are very, very familiar with what to do, and they also guide us. We get some preliminary, what we say, guide from them on the areas that they feel are the poorest communities to intervene in. So the working relationship with the area councils is very, very warm, as well as the MFCT.
Okay, let's look at the concern being raised about environment and the natural resources God has endowed the nation with. What can you tell us is your concern about with that?
Well, unfortunately, environmental conservation and management, although one of our sectors, is where we have not, the communities have not expressed a lot of interest in this.
But we're talking about deliberate plans, are there deliberate plans?
Oh, of course, yes.
States, the states houses, states that house these resources. Some of these governors of these states and the government there that house these resources to benefit more in the development agenda of the present administration. How much of that have we been able to explore?
Yes, we have 946 micro projects under our environmental sector. That's why I'm saying when we have 4,480 underwater, but for environment we have only 946. But as it is, we do not determine for the communities which sector to intervene in. We did a TV documentary recently, and there is a poor community in Yobe State, Clackmani, which got small resources, and they used the money to invest in planting of trees. The trees, fortunately, have survived and grown very, very well. And that small intervention has helped to stop the encroachment of desert to the community. So without that, if that intervention had not happened the time it happened, by now that community would have been wiped out because of the ravaging desert encroachment in the northeast. So we have so many communities too that are ravaged with environmental degradation of various dimensions, from erosion to reclamation of environment to even water harvesting during the time of rainy season. And that water they harvest in time of rainy season is used during the dry season. So we have been able to cut, to help them to manage their water scarcity using environmental resources. We have these projects across the country, and as it is, we can only sensitize. Our agencies can only sensitize. These are the opportunities. They can also help them to move around and know what are the prevalent environmental concerns, like open defecation and what have you. We should say that there is need for more toilets and all that, and we do all those sensitizations when we go to the communities. But what the communities actually want is now left to them. But we are thinking at the possibility of making environmental issue, because the poor communities may not appreciate the need for environmental micro project as much as we do, looking at the environment, how bad the environment is and all that. So we may be thinking of, in the nearest future, the need to have a compulsory component of our grants going to the communities.
Okay, we're looking forward for that, to that, really. But let's look at this problem now, rape. I'm sure you're very concerned about that.
Yes.
This problem is all over the place, amongst women and minors. It's on the rise. And a lot of people say that, it's because of the lack of improvement in socioeconomic lives of rural dwellers with regards to their social welfare. Is that a matter of concern, really, that you're thinking about?
Well, it is a matter of concern, and as a matter of fact, CSDP started between 2009. The first original CSDP started 2009, and it ended 2014. And we did an evaluation, and the evaluation showed that the gender population, the female gender particularly, has not been properly mainstreamed into the activities of CSDP, and that gave rise to a whole component dedicated to support for gender and vulnerable group in the new CSDP additional financing that started from 2015, which we are still implementing now. So the fate of the female gender, widows, vulnerable group has received a very, very robust attention. And as a matter of fact, out of the $250 million of the additional financing 1 and 2, I think about $70 million has been dedicated only to support gender groups and vulnerable groups as we speak. And right now, there is an aspect of our implementation that talks about psychosocial support. This, in the past 1 year, we have driven very, very aggressively. Our staff have been trained to be able to identify victims of rape, insurgency, who have some form of social trauma or the other. And as I speak to you now, CSDP is actively giving support to poor gender, vulnerable people and gender groups that have been afflicted with one social trauma or the other across the country. The figures are actually growing very, very high as we speak, but I cannot measure, but nothing less than 5,000 or so sessions have been given now over the past 2 to 3 months. And it's also happening at the time of this COVID-19 lockdown, which has also been associated with so many other social trauma, social issues, deprivation, and what have you. So we are doing our best, and the ones we can give support to, we are giving. The ones we will refer, we are also referring them to higher, to secondary, tertiary institutions for that support.
So we'll keep an eye on your contribution with regards to water, electricity, and all that as you liaise with the communities, as you said. But there's a very important, when money comes to play, there is a concern. There is a credit portfolio, if you remember, to the tune of over $200 million for all participating states.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Can you tell us what has been achieved over the years, briefly, by the CSDP in terms of the takeoff? Let me see if we can do that in a minute and a half or two.
The credit portfolio of the original CSDP is $200 million. And the credit portfolio of CSDP additional financing 1 and 2 together is $250 million. 1 is 140, CSDP additional financing 1 is 140 million. And additional financing 2 is $75 million. As it is, we do not separate the CSDP, though original and additional financing. We report on them. And the achievement that we have mentioned are cumulative achievements over the years, for the past 11 years plus, which I mentioned. At least we have 16,455 micro projects that have been implemented. That is huge money. And in terms of resources expended, is over 82 billion naira that has been used for this. And if you talk of staff strength that have been recruited, deployed to assist communities under CSDP, are over 8,000. And as we speak, about 20% of them, of our staff strength, have higher degrees and above. So CSDP, using the resources that is available, has not only assisted community, but we have built a national capacity to be able to respond to social development at the community, rural community level. Social workers have been trained, and then also all our CPMCs, over 5,500 of our project, community project management committees at the community level, have also been trained. So these resources have been directed, not just providing grant to the community, but also building our capacity, federal, state, local government, and also the community level, to deliver on human development services.
We'll keep an eye on that. When it comes to money, a lot of people will be asking questions. So let's see how the progress goes and all that.
Thank you.
If you just joined us, if you're just joining the program, we have been speaking with the National Coordinator of the Community and Social Development Program, CSDP, Dr. Abdulkarim Obaje, on the strides of the federal government since the initiation of the project. Join the conversation as we are streaming live on www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network. That's www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network, or simply Radio Nigeria. If you go on the internet, you quickly connect. The lines to call are 0807 622 6771. One more time, 0807 622 6771 and 0705 149 3324. One more time, 0705 149 3324. For your SMS and WhatsApp only. For those people that cannot connect quickly, you probably want to send an SMS just to be sure your message comes across. Please use 0705 864 2473. This number, don't call it. Just send your SMS or WhatsApp message. 0705 864 2473. Our men are stationed to pick your messages accordingly. Please remember to turn down the volume of your radio set to avoid a howl back. If you're using the phone and you've been able to get across, please turn it down so that we don't get that whoa sound, and everybody gets very uncomfortable with that. We'll be right back after this break, so stay with us.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The National Center for Disease Control has informed me that a large proportion of new infections are now occurring in our communities through person-to-person contacts. So we must pay attention to the danger of close contact between person to person. At this point, I will remind all Nigerians to continue to take responsibility for the recommended measures to prevent transmission, including maintaining physical distancing, good personal hygiene, and staying at home.
Let's have some peace. Nigerians are peace-loving and hard-working people.
And countries only develop and grow when there is peace and stability.
There are different kinds of problems in every society, and so in every country.
If there are problems here, Nigeria is not an exception.
There is no society, no country where violence and public disorder has solved a problem.
No matter the problem, no matter the issue.
Let us sit down like brothers and sisters. Use dialogue to resolve the problems.
Remember, you have to give account of every action you take, if not here on earth, then before your creator.
Please let us work together
for a peaceful Nigeria.
Let us work together. Nigeria will be great.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
You're on to the network service of Radio Nigeria, and the program is Have Your Say. We've been speaking with the National Coordinator of the Community and Social Development Program, CSDP, Dr. Abdulkarim Obaje, on the strides of the federal government since the initiation of the project. He's still very much in our studio. And join the conversation. We're now inviting you. You may wish to now start making your calls. Join this conversation as we are streaming live on www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network. That's www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network, or simply Radio Nigeria. One more time, let me just say it one more time. The numbers 0807 for those using the phone call medium to get to us. 0807 622 6771 or 0705 149 3324. And those that wish to send SMS or WhatsApp messages, please use 0705 864 2473. Please don't call that number. 0705 864 2473 is for your SMS and WhatsApp. Please remember to turn down the volume of your radio set as you get across to us on the phone. So let's move on. Now, while you're explaining, while the phones are being expected quickly, we would like you to expatiate more on the expectations of Nigerians from the CSDP. Okay, we have a call.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name, sir?
This is Bishop Esau from Sabogida in Edo State.
Bishop Esau from Sabogida. Okay, Bishop Esau, go ahead.
I agree to you. You are speaking very well. And for information, I'm hearing of this program for the first time. I think they need to sensitize the people the more. Having said that, my interest really is on this issue of rape. I want to advise that we have laws governing this issue of rape. As a matter of fact, the sentence is life imprisonment. But the problem we have is the fact that the law enforcement agents, the judiciary, they tend to slow down everything. The process is so hazardous that it will be always very difficult for somebody to really get justice. So what I would advise is that let this body liaise with the National Assembly to ensure that some of those laws that are so tight, the ones that made it almost impossible for rape victims to get justice, that they are relaxed, so that within a period of time, that when the matter is sent to court, that it will not be take time for justice to be given. I think that is my candid advice to this body.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Bishop Song. Okay, let's have another call. Do we have another call?
Hello?
Go ahead. Hello, madam.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam.
Can you hear me?
Is it afternoon where you are? It's still morning here, I think.
No, sir, it's morning.
Oh,
It's raining heavily.
Who is this? Who is this?
Good afternoon. Yeah, it's raining heavily. Good afternoon to our guests in the house.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Obaje. I'm reaching you from Ila, Delta State.
Okay.
Sir, Ila is in Delta State. It's very close to the river Niger. Here, I'm just looking at the river, and it's opposite Onitsha in Anambra State. It's been dredged. Sir, immediate past Minister for Agriculture promised to come to our town here because we have land for rice cultivation, cassava, and all that. He didn't come. Now, this program you're talking about, I just heard of it for the first time, and I'm an ardent follower of radio, especially Radio Nigeria, that has been doing us so good. Sir, what can you do for us? We've not had electricity in my town, Ila, for the past 8 years. I'm still counting. We bought transformer. We paid for line through the agents or whatever. Till today, we don't have light. They brought the transformer, okay, and then suddenly they said something had gone bad again. 8 years, 8 years. Ila is not a very, very small town per se.
Okay.
Electricity, that is our problem. Please come to our aid. Then education. You talked about education, building halls for schools, exam halls and all that. We don't have them. Most of our classrooms are so small that kids are jam-packed. Now with this COVID-19, we are talking of children going back to school. And then where do we put them? Assuming we take them to school. When you have about 60 children packed in one classroom. So that we need classroom blocks. Then road. That is another issue completely. I don't know. We're not very far from the major road going to Asaba here. My town is just about 40 kilometers to Asaba. We don't have road. Former Minister Fashola, he promised us road. Though he did his bit, but now we are back to square zero. Please come to our aid. Please. Okay. Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can get one or two more calls, and we can now, respond accordingly. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Please, who is this?
I am Comrade Master Patrick Okoro Crawford.
Okay, Patrick Okoro.
From Blue Education Center Village here.
What state, sir?
Yeah, I want to.
What state are you calling from, sir? The state.
In Abia State.
Okay, Aruchuku in Abia State, Okorafo. Please go ahead.
If there is need or anything, project made for communities, I'm suggesting that there is need for the authority, either the parastatals or the agency, who have come to cite on such a project. Let the community leaders be aware of it. The youth leaders be aware of it. Religious leaders, both Muslim and Christians, be aware of it. So that they too will know that even the local government chairman of that very local government should be aware. So that they too will be doing the monitoring. A situation whereby you see that this project is going on. Now look at what is happening now. We are now under farming season. What is happening now? People need tractors. People need fertilizers. What is happening? Are you coming from the state? When you come from the state, by the time you reach to the local government, what happens? Everything are just shared. The community will not do it. The real farmers themselves who are supposed to produce all these things, they need this thing handy. The tractors and it, but how much is it? But they don't have access to it. The state understand they give it directly. At the end of the day, we still be making policies. The implementations are our major problems. If the major problem, the implementation policy will just go down to the grassroots level in terms of implementation, I bet you the federal government has a very big and a tangible and a very successful project for Nigeria. But the question is implementation. Have to make sure that these things are being monitored. Look at how much you say we budget for this, budget for this. At the end of the day, the money inside dump somebody's pocket, and the reasons are not the nothing. Now, let me give you an example. We were told that Nanuchuku to Hofia is a major problem. Erosion is hitting both sides. They said contract. What happened? The contractor content mounted the equipment. Before he talked to Robinson, 2 weeks, 1 month, the contractor disappeared. What do the people have as nothing? The thing is there. Come to Nanuchuku to Hofia and see what is happening there. And there are a lot of farmers everywhere in the whole Nigeria, named all the 774 local governments of Nigeria. Now, the fertilizer that your people are talking about, how much is fertilizer? Fertilizer people are to go at least 2,000 or 3,000. How much is fertilizer? 7,000, 8,000. For what? And the people who need them, they don't have access to it. And we're supposed to have all these plants everywhere in political zones to make sure all these are available so that we have access. Honestly, Nigeria is blessed. Look at the type of vegetable. They talk about COVID-19. All the herbs they wrote on Madagascar, all those herbs are in Nigeria. Even if you come to my village, I saw 2 there.
I think you made your point. You made your point.
Very much have a blessed day in Abuja.
Very well, very well. So that we can have some response from you. Please go ahead, Dr. Obaje.
Okay. Thank you very much for all those who have called in. Bishop Iso, he said we should do more sensitization. We step up sensitization. Let me start from there. But what has played out in recent years is that our intervention is now based on what we call focal poverty areas. That is the poorest local government areas of the state. We have now moved more frontally to sensitize poor communities in those local governments, and these local governments are determined by His Excellency, the executive governors of the states through the Ministry of Planning or the body of statistics, who have compiled some statistical information to determine which local governments are the poorest. So this information is made available to the World Bank, where they get approval for these local governments to be used. So if you are in a local government that is not focal, you may not feel the impact of our project as it is, but we will definitely step up sensitization so that even at the state government level, stakeholders know what we are doing. On the issue of rape, we are working with NAPTIP, the national office, the national agency in charge of prohibition of trafficking in persons. As a matter of fact, I've paid a visit to the DG of the agency, and we are working not only on psychosocial support, but the issue of drumming more support for fast-tracking of dealing with rape cases in the judiciary will be one of the issues we are going to table before them, so that we have a large platform to also engage with the National Assembly. This is a wonderful suggestion, and we are going to take it up. Then Madam Odaze from Delta. Fortunately and unfortunately, Delta State is not participating in CSDP. However, there is a project called C4 that also does something very, very close to what we are doing under CSDP, which is helping poor communities to have access to social and natural resources infrastructure services. I will link up with my principals to see how Delta State C4 can also come to Ila community to give you support. But this is a separate project from CSDP. And Mazi Okorafo, who is calling from Arochukwu, thank you very much. The design of CSDP is unique. We are using what we call community-driven development. This succinctly states that development resources are put at the disposal of the community. We do not control how these communities carry out their needs identification. It is entirely their own, and they manage the resources. And the local governments are deeply involved in our activities, in that we have what we call the local government review committees that screens and approves all community development plans and group development plans as generated by the poor groups, by the communities and the poor groups respectively. So they must be subjected to local government review committee, and the chairman of these review committees are the head of administration at the local government level.
So we should hold them to account.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's go to the social media.
Exactly.
You just made the point there.
Yes.
www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria network, for those that have sent it through Facebook, and then WhatsApp 07058642473. Quickly now. We have one from Mustafa from Abuja. Good morning. How can your project be tracked? Maybe on social media or in reality? Because hearing the execution of this micro project, one should know more about it, by seeing them. Then we have another, Ovuna Dicklin, watching live from, he's watching via Facebook in Chibiri, Adikiko in Ebonyi State. Why is it that it is only 30 states among the 36 that are participating in CSDP program? What is the problem? What are the requirements of a state or community level to partake on the program, as you are doing it? Meanwhile, he thinks, that's talking about Ovuna now, the awareness campaign, more awareness campaign, are needed for communities to know the importance of CSDP, because it's only a few communities there that used to benefit from the program. So we thank you so much for being there. That's what he's saying. Now we have Dr. Bethel Ewung. I want you just to summarize whatever the actions would be so that we don't continue to go back to them. Dr. Bethel Ewung from Abaragba Ikom, local government area of Cross River State. I wish to congratulate the CSDP in Nigeria, and particularly in Cross River State. I'm sure he knows about what's going on, where the implementing agency has intervened in over 300 communities through CSDP intervention in Cross River State. Abaragba community have one of the best science laboratories in the state, and it's worth commending. I'm sure that's just the summary of that. The enrolling of students in the community is going on. So Bethel Lewung from Abaragba community, Econ local government area. Yeah. So let me just allow this one to sink a little bit and see what you can say about that. But let me quickly take one from Ekiti. I think that will balance it up. I want to sincerely appreciate the guests today, Dr. Obaje. Firstly, I want to commend CSDP on the giant stride they are making towards poverty reduction across the country. And they want to ask when the CSDP will close in Nigeria and when the new project will kick off, if there is anything like that. Is that okay? I think we can just summarize those ones and then we'll pick them up in the next batch of your answering quickly. Go ahead, Dr. Wache.
Thank you. For Mustafa, we have a website, www.csdpnigeria.org. If you go to the website, you see our photo speak. You also see news from all communities. I think you can track what we do, at least from our reports that you can see on the website. But as you have noted, we'll continue to improve on sensitization. And if you go to our state offices, all the communities, poor communities where we intervene, they can give you information about them. We are actually working subject to time with the National Space Research and Development Agency to see if to capture all the geo coordinate of all our micro projects and host them on our website, such that from anywhere in the world you can actually click and go and see our health center, see the bridges that we have constructed, assisted the poor community to construct and all that. But that is still work in progress. But hopefully we'll get there. Then Declan, why 30 states? There are conditionalities for joining CSDP, as it is only about maybe five or six states are not a part of CSDP family. But two of these states, namely Delta and Rivers, are doing something under C4, which is very close to what CSDP is doing. So I think, and then two of the states, Kaduna and Sokoto, if I may mention, are also at the final laps, at the final stage of joining CSDP. So effectively, we have only Kano, Jigawa, and Lagos that are not part of CSDP. So in fact, we are actually about 85% to 90% coverage in Nigeria. But there are conditionalities. One, the state government will have to express interest to the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Development.
They are the ones that should express interest.
Yes, the state must express interest that they want to join the project.
Okay, so before you continue, please, those states that have not joined, people in the state, tell them to express interest.
Yes.
I think that's the right thing to do first. Go ahead.
Exactly. And then they need to also pass a law because all our agencies in the 30 states that are operating now, and in fact even the 32 states, including Kaduna and Sokoto State, have already passed a law by the State House of Assembly setting up this agency. It makes it a statutory body. It makes it a body that can draw down on the state resources, and then you need to deposit 50 million naira, set up a board of directors, recruit staff, etc. So about 7 or 8 conditions, and of course this show poverty map too. You need to determine where to intervene. So these are all the conditionalities that you need to fulfill before the World Bank clear any state to become a member of the family. So any state that does that, we are still open to. And then on awareness campaign, we'll definitely improve in our awareness campaign. One of it is that we have obliged the Radio Nigeria invitation to be part of this program. So we'll continue to do more of this, and we'll host everything on our website so that we can get more publicity. Thank you, Mr. Bethel. Yes, we appreciate the contribution of Rivers State too, and what they are doing in poor communities. 30 communities is not, it's a major achievement for us, and Cross River is one of our best performing states, as a matter of fact, in the entire country. Mr. Adeni, yes, when is the CSDP finishing? We are expecting the project should have closed by 30th of June. And that is after having been operational for the past 11 years, plus minus. But the federal government has made an appeal to the World Bank to extend it by a period of 3 months, because so I can catch up on the lost grounds as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. And that request we learned is receiving favorable attention of the World Bank. So hopefully we'll get the approval very soon.
Okay.
So extension, if it comes, will now be 30th of September closing date.
Okay.
And a new project is expected to take off almost immediately after that, but the details are still being worked out.
Okay, please go to the website and you send more questions to the CSDP program. The moment, in fact, on when you want to, on the website, if you Google it, well, you use any of the machines, you say CSDP, you may just get to, and then find yourself there. Send your questions there. They will respond to you accordingly because they have that feedback mechanism. Let me quickly see if I can take a call or two, to put the icing on the cake now. Hello? Hello? Do we have a caller on the line? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Good morning. Who is this?
Good morning, sir. You are speaking with Stephen from Delta State.
Yeah, I missed your name, sir. Your name again?
Stephen from Delta State.
Okay, Stephen in Delta State. Go ahead. Come on a bit louder. Stephen.
Yeah, I guess one lady spoke from Ila, and actually she emphasized concerning the road in Ila from Asaba to Ila. The road actually from there is just 20 minutes drive actually, if they are coming from Ila to Asaba. But as we speak presently, sir, the road is so bad in that this rainy season now, as you say, rain is falling over in Ila. From Ila down to Asaba here. Rain is also falling in Asaba. To drive from Asaba here to Ila, 40 minutes drive will take you something close to 1 hour.
Okay, he's taking note of that part. This problem is really recurring again. Obaje made a complaint on that. Stephen and Obaje, I think it's something you should just take note and see whether you can look at it. Before we take another call, Yahaya Wada from Abuja on our website said, "Good morning, crew. I'm impressed with the way the present leadership is working round the clock to make this country a better place for all, despite the meager resources at their disposal. God bless Buhari, the Buhari administration, and his ever reliable and committed vice president." Shibajo. Okay, open Adikland. Okay, we've already taken one of yours, but let me just add one. See if you can see Mustafa from Abuja. We're taking something from Abuja. Let me take the last one there. Okay, very good. Now, Abraham Thomas in Kubwa in Abuja said, "Good morning, the presenter and the guest. I am a head teacher in one of the primary schools in Kaduna. How can I get in touch with the CSDP so that they can assist to build structures in the school?" Now, Kaduna is one of your states that you are participating, so she just wants to contact. Can business people from a group make the deposit and access loan to finance their individual businesses? That's Aliyu FCT, Aliyu in FCTS CSDO said, CSDP has provided me a platform to understand financial prudence and CDD approach to rural development. Government should provide more funding to enable CSDP to reduce poverty and empower the rural communities. And that one is just more like an advice. Before you say something, let me take one more call, and then we'll give you 3 minutes to see if we can attend to it. Can we take a call? Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, good morning. This is the radio senator, Mr. Andrew Ajayi.
Okay, Andrew Ajayi, hit it in 1 minute. Let's go.
Well, good topic. All I just want to say is, one, please let this agency be very transparent and accountable, because there is always a day of reckoning. Because I'm just hearing about this for the first time in my life as someone on radio who has been talking about character reformation and integration in Nigeria. For the purpose of integration, please can you look at the Ibilo Road to Auchi? There is a road in Ibilo, in Akoko-Edo local government area of Edo State. That road is so bad, the people there are suffering. Kidnappers, headsmen are using that opportunity to deal with people. So can these people help us look at that road and work it out? Then finally, on the issue of rape, the way we have been talking about gender issues in Nigeria is not actually helping us. You are using that gender program to promote women over the men. And nobody is talking about the boy child. You are only talking about the girl child. It is only natural that if Nigeria does not actually appreciate morality for the way it should go, which is the science of right and wrong, into the consciousness of our young people, both girls and boys alike, society will continue to lament. So for rape to be an issue of the past in this country, I, Andrew Ajayi, is saying approach it from the character reformation angle, where you are going to sit down the boys, you sit down the girls, and continue to talk to them, so that at the end of the day, we will have a new horizon and new spectrum. But when we continue to talk of girl child, without looking at the boy child, you are doing disservice to the nation.
Okay. Thank you,
God
Andrew
will
Ajayi.
help this country, and God will help us to change this narrative of unnecessary.
All right, I think he's made the point. He's made the point. You know, Andrew has already made the point. A bit tilted, tilted a bit towards the boys. Okay, I'm sure you have a mouthful here. More like, from the social media and the calls. Let's see what you can do in summarizing.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, madam. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Go ahead.
1 minute. Okay, 1 second if you like. Please, Oga.
Who is this? First, what your name, madam?
Odaze from Ila.
Go ahead.
Oga, please, I'm going to take you on your word. Any which way you want to do it. I'm glad someone else called and talked about roads, but the school thing is there too. Please, I'm going to take you on that. I will do that. Please. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria.
Odaze, you're really up there. Okay, then. All right, then. Odaze is there on our route in Ila. That's one big thing that's hacking. Okay, now, so let's go. Let's go, sir.
Now, the major limitation we have on this, on CSDP, is the fact that the micro projects are determined by the communities themselves. And we do not do any project that is beyond 10 million naira for now. If we need to do a project that is up to 20 million or more than 10 million, we need special waiver from the World Bank. And so far, we are doing 10 million naira projects. And that is minimum of 2 micro projects in that 10 million naira envelope. So any major road construction cannot be funded with the limited budget that we have. On the issue of rape, definitely our psychosocial support is not dedicated to only the girl child. It depends on the prevalent gender issue in the particular state. That is where they draw attention to. So the sessions we're talking about are not just female. We also counsel male who have also been victims of insurgency and other forms of attack. So it's a broad platform that we have. We are not limiting it only to the girl child, even though that seems to be most popular. Then Delta State is not yet part of our project, but they are doing something very, very similar to CSDP under the C4. So I'm sure they are also listening to what we are saying, but I'll also get across to the project coordinator and see if Ila community can also be given assistance. But it's all community driven. So you must look for C4 office in Delta State and go and express interest, and then they'll come and facilitate you, and then they can give you support if they have, if you are within the community that should be assisted.
So look for C4 office in Delta State and channel your grievances quickly, please, madam. C4 office in Delta State. Okay, I think we're rounding up now. Yes. You want to give your words to appeal to people. What do you expect of people listening?
Well, the issue is the challenge of poverty in Nigeria is indeed enormous, and we are very glad that Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, and the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, have given a lot of support to the social intervention projects and programs under this administration. The creation of the ministry is a major boost for this. And Mr. President has also given a directive that he would like to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty over the period of 10 years. That is 10 million naira on an annual basis. And provision of social infrastructure, natural resources conservation are very key to realizing this presidential ambition. I'm sure that is what's underlying the desire, the request to the World Bank to extend this project implementation by three months, and that a new project called CARES is also being conceived and being designed for at least a period of 2 years to ensure that poor communities in Nigeria are not disenfranchised from the dividends of democracy. And a lot of communities have benefited as we speak, and this is positive. It is not something that we want it to stop, we want it to continue. We want to assure Nigerians that we are both technically and human resource-wise very, very resourced. Our staff across the country, from professors, we have about 4 or so professors serving on CSDP as we speak, and about 20% of our staff, as I mentioned, have PhD degrees. Over 600 of our staff have graduate degrees, BSc, HND, and the like. And we have about 1,000 staff that are working under CSDP, and these are social workers trained over the period of 10 years, practical experience on the field, with empathy to poor people in the communities and others. So CSDP is strategically placed, and we are capacitated to supply, to assist Mr. President to deliver on this mandate.
We thank you very much, National Coordinator of the Community and Social Development Program, CSDP, Dr. Abdulkarim Obaje, for being on our hot seats. Have your say. I hope it wasn't that uncomfortable, was it?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, very well.
I'm fine.
All right, then many thanks to those that have contributed in making this program a wonderful one. Many thanks to news producers, Olayemi Daniel, Conrad Labe, and Hassan Hussein. On the line editor, that's online editors, well, we have the gentleman in charge, Timothy Daly, and then we have ICT, Israel Chioka. Studio manager has been Prince Afone Weze, and the engineer on duty has been Hassan Osman. Photographer, Sadiq Sarumi, and camera, we have Chinedu Omegwa, and then we have Foluwa Oloyede. The facilitator is Oluwa Damilola Oni. Producer of our program is Oledo Mbiwe. Our executive producer is Sani Suleiman. Special thanks to the Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Dr. Mansour Liman. Join us next week for another edition of Have Your Say. My name is Yahya Omar. Stay safe. Goodbye.